Thank you. Thank you very much, and good evening, and welcome to the show. Our first show went out a couple of weeks ago, and I had a couple of letters from various people, viewers asking me questions. And one of the questions I was asked was, what was I trying to brush off my shoulder? Was it dandruff, or was it ash? It was a ferret. I also had a letter from a priest in the north of England, and all I can say, Father, if I do with the stool what you suggest, I won't be able to finish the series. He wanted me to auction it off. Charity. Have you noticed in this day and age, we're actually surrounded by experts. Everybody's telling us what to do and what not to do and how to do it and when to do it and when not to do it. For example, the educational experts of today say that we must return to the 3 R's, the 3 basic R's in education. Reading, writing, and arithmetic. Somebody should tell that expert how to spell. Marriage guidance tells us that the most dangerous year of marriage is no longer the 7th year, it is the 2nd year, followed by the 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th. Experts tell us that if the population continues to rise at its present rate, in 20 years' time, there will be standing room only. That'll put a stop to it. With regard to myself, medical profession tells me that for every cigarette I smoke, I take a year off my life. For every glass of alcohol I drink, I take another year off my life. Working that out, I died about 3 years ago. And I can't remember it. That's the strange thing. I used to drink with a friend of mine in Manchester. He was a doctor. He was an Irishman. And the incredible thing about the measures in Ireland regarding alcohol, they're different. Our measures are bigger. A single in Ireland would be equivalent to a double in England. And a treble in England would be equivalent to a double in Ireland. And this doctor used to go in and have one drink every evening, but he liked a good measure. And any time he used to walk into the bar, the barman would say, "Good evening, doctor. What are you going to have, a double whiskey or a treble?" So we got to the landlord one day, and he said, don't get your barman to shout out doubles and trebles. I'm a doctor. The rest of the customers will think, who's that bloody drunk who comes in? He said, look, what I'll do when I come in, if I want a double, I'll just do that. And if I want a treble, I'll do that. And it's fine. And I was standing in the bar one night, and he'd been to the races, and he came in as slightly the worse for wear. And he's like that. And the landlord says, what do you want? And the doctor said, the usual. And the landlord said, what do you mean the usual? Look down, doctor, look down. And he went, oh, and one for yourself. A man, a very heavy drinker. When he drinks to such an extent that when he gets home, he falls into a total state of unconsciousness. And his wife goes to the priest, and she said, how am I going to stop him drinking? And he said, well, what we'll do, when he's in a drunken state, we'll dress him up in white. Total white. We'll hang all white curtains around the walls, and we'll put the undertaker in there, and he'll be in white, and we'll put wings on him. And when he wakes up, your husband wakes up, and he finds out that he's died from the drink, he'll give it up. So the fellow... Due course, he gets stoned, falls into his unconscious state. She calls the priest, the undertaker, they all run around. They hang up all the white robes, everything, dress him up in white. And he wakes up in this white room. He says, where am I? And the undertaker is dressed up with wings. He says, you died. You're in purgatory. He says, how long have I been here? He says, you've been here 4 hours. He says, how long have you been here? He says, 2,000 years. He says, that's a long time. You know your way around here. He said, yes. He said, you don't know where I could get a drink, do you? You get the other character walks into a bar and he said, I'd like 3 double whiskeys, please, and 4 gin and tonics, and 5 pints of beer, and 6 shandies, and 8 vodkas. He said, would you like a tray? He said, no, I got enough to carry. You get the drunk walking up the road. There's a fellow looking at his car with the bonnet open, looking into the engine. And the drunk says, are you all right? And the fellow says, piston broke. He says, so am I. I was in a bar recently where there was a man sitting in the bar drinking, and propped up in front of him on the bar is a photograph of a woman. And he was sat there and he drank, and he kept on looking at the photograph. So I went over to him afterward. I said, "Is that your sweetheart?" He said, "No, my wife." I said, "Is she dead?" He said, "No, she's alive." I said, you must love her very much." He said, "I don't love her." I hate fat cow. I hate her. I said, "Well, why do you take a photograph to the pub?" He said, "Well, when she starts to look good, I know I've had enough." Two men in a bar, chatting. And one said, he said, "I had the most incredible dream last night." He said, "I'm keen on golf." I said, "I had this dream. I was on the golf course, and I met Lee Trevino. And Lee Trevino said to me, 'Do you want to play a game of golf?'" He actually said that. Lee Trevino. Lee, great to me. And I said, "Yeah, great." And he said, "Well, what's your handicap?" And I said, 24. He said, "Well, it doesn't matter. We'll play a game. All right?" And I said, "Of course." And I got onto the first tee, hit the ball, drove it straight down the fairway, 380 yards. Boom. Chipped it onto the green, down in 3. Second hole I eagle. Third I get a hole in 1. I do the whole course in 42. Incredible dream. Marvelous dream. Well, his friend said, "Well, he said, I had a dream last night, just a beautiful dream." He said, "I was sitting in a bar, having a drink, and suddenly I felt a magnetic presence beside me. And I turned around, and there, standing beside me, was the most beautiful girl in the world. Exquisite. Jawline, bone features, hair. And she just looked at me. And I said, 'Hello,' and she said, 'Hello.' And I said, 'Why are you staring at me?' And she said, 'All my life, I've dreamed of meeting a man like you. You are everything that I have imagined as much as love. I love you, I love you, I love you.'" I couldn't believe it. And then another girl came up and stood looking at me. And she was equally as beautiful. And she just stared at me and said, "You are my dream man." And the first fellow says, "You had 2 beautiful birds like that?" He said, "Yes." He said, "Why didn't you ring me up?" He said, "I did, but you were playing golf with Lee Trevino." Well, as we say in the old country, Lochheim. Glass is empty. That means we've got some sketches.
Out they go! Bring up, shoulder back. Get it in! Buttons! Da-da-da. Why, you horrible, scruffy, slovenly little man! Never in all my life have I seen such an idle man operate! You are a miserable little man! You are a horrible little man! Wilkinson, what are you?
I'm a horrible little man, sir.
What is he? He's a horrible little man, Sergeant Major!
There I was, in bed with this actress, you see.
In bed, eh? I'd love to be a rather large bed. My second will see to you.
My second, sir.
Well, at least Bertram sleeps with ladies. Most amusing. My second.
Very well, gentlemen. When I give the word, I want you to turn back to back, take 10 paces, turn, and fire. Now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
I'm thinking there's been enough blood shed over this minor matter already.
Yes, I was thinking the same myself.
Shake hands? Here. Glass of Madeira?
Fine idea.
Thank you. Do you realize that if it had not been for these geese, Rome would have fallen to the barbarians? 1,500 years of civilization ground into the dust. There is no doubt that these geese are the finest watchdogs.
Down, Fido, down! Sit! Over! Back for a while! Sit! Sit! Down, Fido!
What are you doing, Sergeant?
Morning, sir. Minefield laying, sir.
Let me tell you, Sergeant, that the whole essence of mine laying is that the damn things cannot be seen. You've left lumps everywhere.
Oh.
Give me that spade.
Sir.
You do is you smooth the whole thing nicely down like that and just give a little touch.
Oochie coochie, oochie coochie,
Oh, sir. Support a worthy cause? Sir.
I've run out of money.
It's all right, I'll lend you some.
Thank you.
Oh, getting a bit strange. I suppose of all the professions that have advanced over the past 100 years, the medical profession has done more than anything else. I mean, nowadays they can do the most incredible things. If you want a new kidney, they can give you a new kidney, a new liver. You want a new liver, you can get one. If you chop your hand off, they sew it back on again. If you're too tall, they can make you short. They do this by cutting bits of bone out of your leg. Actually, there was an operation recently where they took out a little bit too much bone. And the fellow's legs are so short now he can hardly reach the ground. They can give you a complete blood transfusion, heart transplant, and I suppose the ultimate must be a brain transplant, which will make our politicians happy. Mind you, I think in most cases the new brains will reject the old bodies. And they've made some incredible advances in what is known as cosmetic surgery. They can change the shape of your eyes, change the shape of your lips, give you a new nose, give you a total facelift. And they do this actually by drawing up all that loose flesh that's hanging about. They draw it back and back and back and gather it and tie it in big knots behind your ears. Which is great until you get a head cold. And you sneeze, you finish up with your face in there. And they do, in this facelifting business, they actually do skin grafts. And the new skin, or the skin that they get, put it into your face, they actually take either from your elbow or your bottom. That's where they take it, your elbow or your bottom. And that's great, you have the operation, you take the bandages off, you look in your mirror, and you cannot tell your anus from your cupidus. Or in a layman's language, your ass from your elbow. I don't know. I suppose there actually is a fortune for anybody who can invent hair restorer. But in the meantime, they restore hair by transplanting it. Have you seen it? They actually dig a hole in your head. And they take out a chunk of the bald part. Take it totally out. Little lump of flesh. And they put it down on the table. And then they go around the back of your neck where you got a bit of hair. And they go and take out that. And then they stick that in there. And they take that bit and stick it in there. And you've got to wear a hat for 3 weeks after the operation. In case it rains. All the rain goes down and comes out the back of your neck. The latest method of hair transplant is actually they take strips. Because you're bald up here, so they take strips from the hairy part. Like lumps of carpet. It's like laying carpet. They actually take it off, and then take a strip out of there, and then replace that and put the bald bit there. And after about 2 weeks of this, you've got a lovely big head of hair. Up here. Round here, you're bald. It's like a tonsor in reverse. They're incredible. They can give you big boobs. I mean, if you've got small boobs and you want big ones, they can make them big. If they're too big and you want them small, they can make them small. And they can do the same for women, I believe. They can even give you a total sex change, but you ask a doctor to cure a cold, he hasn't got a chance in hell. I suppose the one thing about the medical profession, they can bury their mistakes. I knew a woman in Ireland who got a bill for a doctor who said, for keeping your husband alive until he died, 30 quid. A friend of mine went to a doctor. The doctor said, well, tell me about your day. He said, well, I get up in the morning, I have a cup of coffee and a large brandy. And then I drive to the office. When on the way to the office, I know a pub and I nip in and I have another large brandy. And then at tea break, I don't have a tea, I have a large brandy. At lunch, I have a sandwich and a couple of large brandies. And then in the afternoon, I have a couple of large brandies. And then I go out to dinner and have a couple of glasses of wine and a few large brandies. And the doctor says, well, what's the matter with you? He said, I keep on falling over. My doctor actually has advised me against all forms of what they call excitement or stimulation. He said, get off the cigarettes, get off the booze, no sex, no gambling, no excitement. I said, will it make me live longer? He said, perhaps, but if it doesn't, it'll just seem like it. All this chat about the medical profession is for one reason and one reason only, and that is because I'm about to introduce some sketches regarding the various branches of the medical profession. And I'm only really introducing it like this because I couldn't think of another way to introduce it. But give me time, and I will.
Oh, Mr. Henshaw, nice to see you again. How are things, wife and kids all right? No, really? Oh, I am pleased. Congratulations. I expect she's getting morning sickness already. Really? Oh, still worth getting a specialist, as you say. What hospital is she booked into? Yeah, still worth every penny, I must say. Well, Mr. Henshaw, that should hold up for now, but best to come back and see me in a day or two, eh? What time would be convenient for you?
Well, how about next Tuesday at 2 o'clock?
I beg your pardon?
Next Tuesday at 2 o'clock.
Sorry. Tuesday at 2 o'clock will be fine.
There's no need to be frightened. Just going to have a look inside your ear and turn on the light. Nurse, would you please turn the light on when I say so? All right, now. Thank you, nurse. Well, I can't see anything in there. Well, thank you, Prime Minister. We'll have another look at you in a month's time.
Mr. Johnson, there is nothing to worry about at all. In a few moments, I'm going to ask our anesthetist to place his mask upon your face. I want you to breathe in deeply and count, and very soon you'll be asleep.
Right you are, sir.
1, 2, 3, 4. Right, he seems to be gone. Scalpel, please, nurse. I shall make the first incision here.
27! 28! 29!
Right, would you cross your legs, please? I'm going to test your reflexes and your possible pain level. That hurt?
No.
No. That hurt?
No.
That hurt?
No.
Did that hurt?
No.
That?
No.
Stand up. That hurt?
No.
That?
No.
What about that?
No.
What about that?
No.
Did that hurt? Just as I thought. A sore throat. Mr. Banks, come in.
Thank you.
I don't wish to embarrass you, but you did bring my fee.
Oh, the £50. Yes, I've got it here.
The way things are nowadays, one can't trust anybody, can one? Lie down, please, Mr. Banks. Tell me, have you ever received psychiatric treatment under hypnosis before?
No, I haven't.
Well, you don't have to worry about a thing. I'm going to put you to sleep. I want you to relax. I want you to watch this little gold bob. And I want your eyes to get very heavy. And soon you will be fast asleep. And when you are asleep, you will tell me all your cares and frustrations. Sleep. Sleep. Mr. Banks, what is worrying you?
It's my money.
Money.
I've got £10,000. My relatives mustn't get it. I've hidden it in a waterproof bag in the cistern of the old toilet. My relatives, they mustn't get it. Please, God, they mustn't get my money, mustn't
Mr.
get...
Banks, are you telling me that you have £10,000 hidden in the cistern of a lavatory?
Yes.
Mr. Banks, where do you live?
57 Brookfield Road.
57 Brookfield Road. The money is hidden in the upstairs lavatory or the downstairs lavatory?
The outside one. You see, that's the problem. You can get in the back gate easily and then straight into the... Oh, please, God, they mustn't get it. My relatives, they mustn't get my money. Please.
Mr. Banks, don't worry. I shall be gone for a little while, and while I'm away, I would like you to say the alphabet, and when you get to the end, I want you to start it again.
A, B,
£10,000.
C,
Lavatory.
D, E, F, G... Waterproof bag in the outside toilet. It never fails.
Women are always saying that they have suffered the hands of man. They've suffered in every way. No, they haven't. There's one way they've never suffered. They've never suffered in silence. You think about it, when women. I mean, they bring us into this world without our consent. And they invariably help us out of it. When we're little, the big girls kiss us. When we're big, the little girls kiss us. If we can pinch a girl's bottom, we are dirty old men. If we don't pinch the girls' bottoms, we're poof. If we go to church, we're hypocrites. If we don't go, we're sinners. If we save money, we're misers. If we spend it, we're fools. Except when we spend it on them. If we die young, there was a great future ahead of us. If we grow old, we're only doing it out of spite so they can't get the insurance. It really is a woman's world. You think about when a man is born or a child, a male is born, they always say, how's the mother? When he gets married, they say, you were lucky. I don't know what she sees in you. And when you die, they say, how much did he leave you? Women are always talking about equality. They say there is no such thing as equality. And they're right. Because until the day comes when a man can get alimony by winking at a judge and crossing his legs, there is no such thing as equality. And the most desperate curse to be bestowed upon a man is to be married to what they call a nagging wife. You get the fellow dying. And you say, now the wake has got to be good. The best whiskey out for the wake, lots of ham, and I don't want one of them pine coffins. I want a good oak coffin, big gravestone, white roses. She says, why don't you die and leave everything to me? You get an Englishman touring around rural Ireland. And normally all the towns are very open and very friendly, and they say, come in, have some bacon, some eggs, come in, have a jar. He gets to this town. There is not a sound. It is totally quiet. And all the shutters are pulled, all the doors are locked. And he walks in, and there in the town square, is a group of men following a coffin being carried. And behind this coffin is a gigantic man, huge man, granite-like features, shock of grey hair. And held in his left hand is a leash of a dog, a big black dog. And behind that man, dressed in black, is another man. And behind that man is another man. And behind him is another. There's 39 of them all together. There's not a woman anywhere. And the fellow thinks, that's an incredible funeral. I've never seen a funeral like that before. So he goes up to this big man at the front and he said, has somebody very important died? And the fellow says, no, not really. Who is it? Who has died? He says, me wife. He says, really? Eh? That dog, was that her dog? Must have loved her very much for you to bring that dog to her funeral. I says, no. That was the dog that savaged her. Bit her to death, that dog did. Really? Would you like to sell that dog? And the fellow said, get to the end of the queue. I think the point that I'm trying to make is that the only way for a relationship to work between male and female is it really for it to be based on what they call the old-fashioned give and take.
Come on, dear. Yes. We're just dawdling along. What do you mean you say yes to me all the time? Here, we want to turn left here. Come on, left. We want to turn left. What? Why don't you slow down a bit when we're going to go round a corner? Oh, come and look, keep to the left, dear, not right down the centre of the road. No, keep over to the left. There's a cyclist ahead of you. What do you want to do? Go and knock him over? Do keep your eyes on the road, my dear. Oh, no. Oh, here we go. I suppose that means you want me again. Isn't there no limit to the demands you make upon me? You couldn't consider my feelings, could you? You couldn't care less. You're just absolutely, totally selfish. No sensitivity. No romance. Oh, when are you ever romantic? When do you ever take me out and pamper me and buy me flowers? Just make me feel like a woman. Oh, no. I'm an object, aren't I, to be used as you feel like it. Huh. Animal lust. That's what it is, just pure animal lust. Something that you can just satisfy your egotistic needs. Oh, very well. If you must. Oh, wake up, damn you!
I'm often accused of being unromantic, but it's very difficult actually to be romantic and realistic at the same time. And yet I do know that we all need a little bit of romance in our lives. And what could be more romantic than Emily Bronte's famous novel, Wuthering Heights?
Kathy! Kathy!
Heathcliff!
Kathy!
Heathcliff! Heathcliff!
Kathy! 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 Kathy!
Why can't we meet like other people? It's so boring racing across the people.
That's romantic and realistic, isn't it? A couple of fools running around the moor going, hey, love, get it. You notice one thing during the show tonight? Try that again. Have you noticed one thing during the show this evening? I haven't talked about religion. But I am now. Religion actually is a very personal thing, and various nations have got their own attitudes towards God and religion. For example, the Scots are a religious nation. They believe in God, and they keep the Sabbath, and anything else they can get for nothing. Welsh are religious, believe in God. They pray on their knees and on the neighbours. The Irish are religious, but we don't know what God to believe in. But when we make our choice, we're prepared to fight for him. The English are not really religious at all, because the English actually consider themselves to be what one would call a self-made nation, therefore relieving the Almighty of any responsibility. And the leaders of the clergy tell us today that we are so concerned with everyday life that we have no time for God. And I was talking to a Jesuit friend of mine, and I said, is this true? And he said, yes, it is. Sadly, it is. 10 years ago, my congregation on a Sunday, the church would have been packed. Nowadays, it's less than a couple of dozen. And I said, what about other religions? He said, well, they're not doing any better, thank God. If we all believe in the same God, why do we need so many religions? There's not only discrimination in religions, it's discrimination in going into what church you want to go to. We have a churchman in Northern Ireland called the Reverend Ian Paisley. He's got his own church. A little black fellow tries to go in there and Paisley, he says, where are you going? You little black fellow, where the hell do you think you're going? You're not going into my church. We don't allow black people into my church. Go out and pray to the Lord for guidance. And 2 days later, the little black fellow comes back.
Miss Bailey, I prayed to the Lord for guidance. I did. And while I was praying, the Lord spoke to me.
He said, the good Lord spoke to you. What did the good Lord say to somebody like you?
Well, I was praying, and the good Lord said, amen. Amen down there. What are you praying for? And I said, I want to go into Mr. Paisley's church. And the Lord started to laugh and laugh and laugh. And he said, man, you got no chance to get on in there. I've been trying to get in there for 10 years.
The thing I never understand about religions is the competitiveness of it all. It's like a kind of football league. You move up one, you're top of the league, and then you lose a bit and you shift down a bit. I was listening to two children talking one day. One was Catholic, one was Jewish. A little Catholic child turned to a Jewish child and he said,
Our priest knows more than your rabbi.
And the Jewish said, of course he does. You tell him everything. But the prophets tell us that there will be a second coming of the Lord. Can you imagine what that day will be like in Rome? The cardinal running into the Pope and saying,
He's arrived. The Lord is in St. Peter's Square riding a donkey. And they're all run around with the palm leaves. What are we going to do?
And the Pope says, look busy. During the last series, we actually built up a character which was always being carried around in a chair. And people have asked me, have we killed off that character for this series? And I'm glad to say, no, we haven't. He's alive, he's very well, and he's still traveling by chair. I'd like to be totally honest here now and tell you that it wasn't really me who did that ski jump. It was my stand-in, the Pope. Good night. Thank you. May God go with you.